What's something that happened that will never not be funny? My 8-year-old son Leo had to do a class presentation on the Titanic, and when I say he got into it, I mean he went full method. He didn't just want to give a speech, he wanted to create an experience. It started with him demanding a tiny tuxedo. Easy enough. Then he asked me to help him build a 6-foot-long cardboard model of the ship, complete with 4 funnels. Okay, a little extra, but I'm a supportive mom. We spent a whole weekend with cardboard and hot glue. Then he said, "Mom, for it to be realistic, I need fog," so I bought a bag of dry ice. He also said he needed an iceberg, not a small one. He wanted it to be to scale. I called an ice sculptor and ordered a 3-foot-tall, 100-pound block of ice. His teacher, Mrs. Gable, looked horrified when I wheeled it into her 3rd-grade classroom on a moving dolly. She just nervously said, "Please put a towel under it." The day of the presentation comes. Leo is standing next to his giant cardboard ship in his little tuxedo. He starts his speech, very serious, describing the beautiful night. Then he gets to the fateful moment. And then, he says, his voice full of drama, "The iceberg appeared." That was my cue. I was in the back of the room. I dropped a huge chunk of dry ice into a bucket of hot water. I completely misjudged the amount. A massive, thick cloud of fog instantly rolled across the classroom floor. You couldn't see your shoes. Kids started coughing and laughing. Mrs. Gable was waving her hands in front of her face, trying to clear the air. Leo, a true performer, just kept going. He narrated the ship hitting the iceberg. Then he announced the ship began to sink. He had rigged the cardboard Titanic to split in half. He pulled a hidden string, and the model dramatically broke apart. It was actually a pretty cool effect, but the collapsing ship knocked over the fog bucket. A tidal wave of freezing, foggy water washed across the stage, right toward the front row of kids who screamed with joy. Mrs. Gable shrieked, "My new rug!" That's when I saw the real problem. The 100-pound iceberg had been melting the whole time. The towel underneath was soaked, and the water was trickling onto the floor. The dolly was parked on a very slight, almost unnoticeable slope. The melting water had created a perfect, slippery path. Slowly, almost majestically, the iceberg started to slide. It slid right off the dolly with a loud thud and began rolling across the classroom floor like a runaway bowling ball. It picked up speed. The kids were pointing and yelling. Mrs. Gable just stood there, frozen, as the iceberg rolled straight toward her desk and crashed into it. It knocked her laptop onto the floor with a sickening crunch and shattered a vase of flowers, sending water and petals everywhere. The room was total chaos. The floor was flooded, the teacher's desk was ruined, and thick fog still hung in the air. Leo, standing in the middle of the wreckage with water up to his ankles, took a deep dramatic bow. The principal came running in. I was preparing for Leo's permanent expulsion, but he just looked at the chaos, then at Leo, who was still holding his bow, and then back at the horrified teacher, and he started laughing, a deep, uncontrollable belly laugh. He walked over to Leo, put a hand on his shoulder, and said, "Well, son, that's the most memorable history presentation this school has ever seen. A+ for historical immersion."